Welcome to the JP8 Report. This is James Pierce with the JP8 Report, episode 303. Good morning, everyone. Yes, it's 10 a.m. and we're all alive. Now, I have an appointment I got to be at by 12, so we're going to do the JP8 Report and the premium, and then I got to skedaddle, okay? And because I got to do that, I got to be back here for a 3 o'clock interview with the congressional candidate. And then busy day. But thank you very much for tuning in. And there's a whole lot going on today. And I don't think I have anything on here. Hold on. I don't have anything on there about Minnesota, okay, or even maybe Iran. But so we're going to deal with a lot of politics today, hopefully, okay. I'll be monitoring my watch for any type of breaking news. And yes, I do think that the president needs to invoke the Insurrection Act of 1807 in Minnesota. But let's let him do that, not me, all right. But hey, before we get started, if you're watching the JPA report, please follow the podcast, and then right beside it, you click that like button, which is the thumbs up on Rumble, and then share, please. And if you feel like giving a tip, you can click the Rumble wallet symbol that says tip, and give me a tip. And then thank you for anyone that's watching us on X and Rumble, X and Facebook and YouTube. All right, but Rumble is home, right? So yeah, thank y'all very much for tuning in, and I will be on the air on Monday, even though it's Martin Luther King Day. All right, so onward to the JP8 report. So, well, first we got to do America 250, all right? So, on the 16th of January 1776, General Washington convened a council of war to plan the Battle of Boston, all right? Let me get things set up here, all right? So, it says here, at a council of general officers held at headquarters in Cambridge, 16th of January 1776. The officers that were present was His Excellency General Washington, the Honorable John Adams, the Honorable James Warren, Major General Ward, Major General Putnam, Brigadier General Heath, Brigadier General Spencer, Brigadier General Sullivan, Brigadier General Green, and Brigadier General Gates. The Commander-in-Chief laid before the Council a state of the regiments in the Continental Army, the consequent weaknesses of the lines, and in his judgment, the indispensability necessity of making a bold attempt to conquer the ministerial troops in Boston before they can be reinforced in the spring. If the means can be provided and a favorable opportunity offered, and then desired the opinion of the council thereupon. The council agreed unanimously that a vigorous attempt ought to be made upon the ministerial Army of Boston as soon as practical, all concurring circumstances favoring the wished for success, and advised His Excellency to request from this and the neighboring colonies 13 regiments of militia to his aid, to be at Cambridge by the 1st of February. Oh, so we know something's coming up. And to consist of the same number of men and officers and those upon the continental establishment, and to remain, should occasion require, until the last of March. Application to be made to the General Court of Massachusetts Bay for 7 of those regiments, to Connecticut for 4, to New Hampshire for 2, exempting Rhode Island from their quota of men on account of the repeated insults of the enemy's ships of war and the exposed situation from the seacoast of that colony. His Excellency also informed the council and of the great deficiency of arms and the small prospect of supply. The recruiting officers had signified to him that the recruits should not bring arms without the allowance for the use of them, and be assured they might carry them home at the expiration of their services. The council thereupon advised the general to procure arms upon those terms, as there seemed no probability of getting imported arms, and service must be to the utmost hazard without. So there we go. It's pretty much close to an operations or warning order that you're going to see in before Boston. They want to marshal forces, get a lot of troops together, and they're scurrying around looking for rifles and gunpowder. All right, a lot of general officers. But that took place on the 16th of January, 1776. On the 17th of January, 1776, just like General Washington was saying about Rhode Island being exempt because of the constant attacks by the British military, the British bombed and burned Norfolk, Virginia again, and they were trying to raid the surrounding homes and take supplies, but Patriot forces actually fought back and made them withdraw. So a little bit of good news, even though they did get bombarded by British naval ships. All right, so that is what happened on these two dates, the 16th and 17th of January, 1776. All right, so onward. Okay, we got to talk about the Dalmatian. Man, every day I put these on there, just make me more and more hungry. All right, so this is the Dalmatian. They make smash burgers and dogs in Copper's Cove. All their ingredients are homemade and fresh, including the buns. And they're open Tuesday through Saturday, 5:30 to 7, unless they sell out. And then Monday through Saturday for lunch from 11 to 2. They're located on the west side of Copper's Cove, behind bushes. All right. And if you want a good burger, like I keep saying, you got to try the armadillo. All right. If you never had a burger with jam inside of it, you've never had a burger. Okay. So the JP8 report. Where do I start? Okay, I'll just start with this before I get into all these news. I was listening to Graham Allen this morning, and he brought up a good point. They were talking about one of their sponsors, and then he started talking about medication coming from the VA and their doctors and stuff, and how the VA is so quick to throw medicine at you, try to peel you up, like what he was saying. And do you remember what I was talking about yesterday? I had an extensive discussion with my VA doctor because she immediately, before anything to me, says, "I'm up in your medication." And when I said why, it went downhill fast. The point being is that there's nothing wrong with you asking your primary care physician what is the ramifications and why they want to increase your medication. Now, if you're in the ER or going to the OR, we could. That's a different story. But the fact is that we got people that actually do that, and you got to fight back and require them to tell you. And he said it, and I said it, so that means a lot. It's happening a lot more out there than you actually know. So make sure you ask those questions, okay, guys? Please do so. I hope I remember this one. Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do this one. I'm going to read y'all something from Fox News I just saw just a few minutes ago. It's titled, "Unearthed Filing Shows Top Teachers Union Funneling Millions to Far-Left Organizations," called Social Justice Unionism. One of the nation's most prominent teachers union funneled millions of dollars in union funds to far-left activist groups, ballot initiatives, and social justice organizations, according to federal labor filings. Can I read this better without the glasses? A November Form L2 disclosure from the National Education Association filed in November and obtained by the North American Values Institute shows 2024 fiscal year spending that involved millions given to social justice oriented groups and far left causes. The NEA, which boasts more than 3 million members, sent $300,000 to 1630 Fund, a liberal dark money group that Fox News Digital has reported on extensively, and tens of thousands of dollars to the Tides Foundation Network, which Fox News Digital previously reported has ties to anti-Israel protests and a variety of far-left causes. Among the largest expenditures, get this, I hope you're sitting down, was more than $3.5 million sent to the Education International, a global teachers federation where NEA President Becky Pringle serves as a vice president. The filing details hundreds of thousands of dollars flowing to organizations backing ballot initiatives aimed at reshaping education policy and election laws in states including Ohio, Massachusetts, Arizona, and Wisconsin. Then it shows a picture of Weingarten there. The union reportedly spending $500,000 to support a campaign to end standardized testing in Massachusetts, another half a mil to back anti-gerrymandering amendment in Ohio, another half mil to a progressive political consulting firm specializing in ballot initiatives and canvassing. In addition to electoral spending, the NEA paid more than $166,000 to Imagine Us LLC, a consulting firm focused on racial equity training, and tens of thousands more to groups promoting what they describe as social justice education, including curriculum, material on race, gender identity, and activism in K-12 classrooms, which they should be learning, not being activists. They sent $350,000 to the Schott Foundation, which describes it as BIPOC, Black Indigenous Peoples of Color. I think that's what it is. led public fund that pulls philanthropic funding and fuels racial and educational justice movement. Okay, so I'm done with that one. Get out. Okay, so if you're a teacher or work for a school district and you have to pay dues because you're in the union, just think about what I just read. Your dues to your union are going to those people and backing areas that you don't agree with, that are circumventing the values that you're instilling into your kids and your family members. People like that are destroying our schools and the future of our country. I mean, I'm a certified teacher. I did everything. I'm not in the classroom, and nor do I want to go in the classroom because the way the schools are these days. Prove me wrong. I mean, that is a fact of life that I would rather. And one of my daughters is talking about being a teacher, and do I really want her to subject herself to that kind of torture? And no, I would rather not. So before the next time you actually cast a ballot for a board of trustee for a school district, that ask them, do you support unions in your school system? If they say yes, you might want to consider a different person. All right. So let's go on to the next part. Let's go to what we're planning to do as I got smudged glasses. Rats. Okay. So the GOP is gearing up for midterms, and Trump is the focus. Okay. The Republican National Committee Chair Joe Gruters says he has one goal in this year: to make sure the GOP holds its fragile House majority and narrow control of the Senate in November's midterm election. That's a goal. His intent should be to expand the Senate, get as close to 60 as possible. But the RNC chair, a longtime ally of President Donald Trump, who the president picked last summer to steer the National Party committee, because the other one, oh man, I forgot his name. I just knew about it. But he filed a run for the U.S. Senate in North Carolina. It said he has a secret weapon in order to defy history and pick up seats in the 2026 midterms. I think the President of the United States is our secret weapon. He's laser focused. Gruters touted a national digital exclusive sit-down interview with Fox News. Pointing to Trump's unprecedented agenda during his first year back in the White House, Gruters argued, I think it's going to pay huge dividends across the board, whether you're running for governor, state, house, or whether you're running in a local seat. Democrats see it differently, as they spotlight Trump's underwater approval ratings and deep concerns by Americans over continued high prices. The GOP is also dealing with a low propensity issue. MAGA voters don't always go to the polls when Trump's name isn't on the ballot. But Gruters noted that Trump's made stops in recent weeks in three key midterm election battlegrounds, and said that the president's going to barnstorm the country with candidates. I didn't mean to hit the mic. The RNC chair also spotlighted the party's formidable fundraising advantage over the Democrats' National Committee and noting that we're raising a ton of money. But he cautioned, we got to do everything right. We got to make sure we turn out voters. And we got to make sure that we have people energized. There's nobody that can be energized our base more than President Trump. Gruters, who was interviewed ahead of next week's RNC winter meeting, also argued there's been nobody there that's been more focused on affordability than President Trump. Look at gas prices, the lowest since 2021. Look at egg prices, real pocketbook issues that impact everyday Americans. The president is focused on what focused on, and he's not done. Deep concerns over inflation boosted Trump and Republicans to sweeping victories at the ballot box in 2024, but they won't back the White House and Senate to keep their House majority, as they won't back the White House and Senate to keep their House majority. But Democrats say their decisive victories in November 2025 elections for Democrats succeeding Democrats. I don't get it. Their overperformance in special elections and other ballot box showdowns last year, fueled by their laser focus on affordability. After they raked us over the coals for 4 years, now they're concerned about prices. 1 year into his second term, Donald Trump has made one thing unmistakably clear. He doesn't care about everyday Americans. He only cares about himself and his billionaire donors, as working families struggle to afford gas, groceries, utility, health care. Okay, that's who the DNC Rapid Response Director Wendell Whitmer said in a statement. So they have a rapid response, but they made it after the Republicans made Rapid Response 47. So a little bit about that is, I look at this as you have midterms coming up. We have competitive races coming up, right? So what can you do to help out the electorate, right? Well, one, you get good, strong conservatives at the ballot. They can get people to go out and vote for them, right? Two, you have closed primaries, right? Three, you have voter ID and very limited access to mail-in ballots. That's right. All right. And you got to get out there and vote. Vote like there's no tomorrow. Vote during early vote, because you never know when that snowstorm may move in on the, I believe, the 2nd of November, I think it is, or 3rd of November is election day. Here in Texas, we have Tuesday, March 3rd as primary day, right? And we'll get in a little bit of that in just a few minutes. Okay, so one other thing that would help is, let's bring some legislation to the table that should start helping Americans, right? Because it seems like everyone's already decided to forget about the big, bold, beautiful bill. So President Trump unveiled his new great health care plan Thursday and urged Congress to create and pass legislation with the provisions included in an attempt to lower health care costs for Americans. The plan, which comes amid a big push from the White House to focus on affordability issues for Americans, calls on Americans to get behind a series of provisions outlined in the plan to stem largely from previous executive orders the president has signed during this term. Specifically, the Great Healthcare Plan calls on Congress to codify Trump's most favored nation drug prices initiative that instructs drug companies to lower costs and keep them in alignment with what drugs and other developed countries' costs, according to a White House fact sheet. Trump issued an executive order on that matter in May. Also, the plan aims to maximize price transparency and require providers and insurers to take Medicare and Medicaid to prominently post their pricing and fees in their place of business and ensure insurance companies are complying with price transparency requirements. All good so far. The plan also calls for an end to taxpayer-funded subsidy payments to insurance companies, and instead of sending those funds to eligible Americans instead, a proposal that Trump has suggested previously. Yeah, quit making insurance company filthy rich. It is unclear how the federal government plans to distribute funds to Americans, and the administration told reporters, boy, when you take the glasses off, it makes it really hard to see. There are common sense actions that make up President Trump's great health care plan, and they represent the most comprehensive and bold agenda to lower healthcare costs that have been ever considered by the federal government. Congress should immediately take up President Trump's plan and pass it into law. Why not? EOs are meant to be temporary fixes until Congress can bring it up and vote for it. But the only problem is you have factions in both parties. Vince was talking about that this morning too. Sometimes you got to think that some Republicans wish to stay in the minority so they can yell and scream at the top of their voice to make things heard, right? You see that a lot. Okay. So next, Caroline Leavitt, White House press secretary. Did you know she's actually pregnant? She's due, I believe, in May. Man, my screen froze on Rumble. But on my mobile apps, everything's good to go. So, okay. Continue to march. I'm just wondering if my numbers are right. If you were watching the Chad Prather this morning, he couldn't even go live on Rumble. They had to rebuild. They have an internal issue on Rumble. And I do think that it's affecting some of the viewer numbers. All right. Caroline Leavitt clashes with journalists over Renee Good. Oops, I just spoke about Minnesota. Calls him left-wing activists. Intense White House briefing exchange. The White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, had a fiery clash with a journalist during Thursday's press briefing, labeling him a left-wing activist over an exchange the two of them had over Renee Good. If you didn't know who Renee Good was, she was the driver of the vehicle that was obstructing traffic of an ICE raid, and then she hit one of the ICE officers, and he pulled his weapon and shot her. Let's see. Natalie Stanage, the White House columnist, began his question by pointing to the Trump administration's staunch defense of U.S. Immigration Customs Enforcement, citing stats showing 32 people died in ICE custody and 170 U.S. citizens were detained by ICE. He also noted last week killing of Good, who was shot in what agents said was self-defense because she was using her car as a weapon. How does that equate to them doing everything correctly? Stanage asked, referring to comments made by in defense of ICE by Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. Why was Renee Good, unfortunately and tragically killed. I can answer that right now. She was using her vehicle as a weapon, right? You're asking my opinion because an ICE agent acted recklessly and killed her unjustifiably. So you're a biased reporter doing a left-wing opinion. Levitt shot back because you're a left-wing hack and you're not a reporter posing in this room as a journalist, and it's so clear by the promise of your question. You know, he ought to have been learning that you can't do that to a pregnant woman. Let's see here. Let's see if I can clean these glasses. I really do need these glasses on. It looks a little bit better. Let's see if that works. All right. It does work. Why was and says, where am I at? Where am I at? Help, help, help. I saw this exchange on, I think he works for MSNBC or something like that, or MS Now. But I heard the exchange on the press conference yesterday, and it was pretty lively. And but he asked a stupid liberal question, Mrs. Levitt there, and she just shot back with, what was it? I can't remember what she was saying. Does it say in there? Are you asking my opinion? Okay, so you're a biased reporter with a left-wing opinion, and you and the people in the media have so much biases, but fake like you're a journalist. That's it. You shouldn't even be sitting in that seat, Levitt told Stanage, but you're pretending like you're a journalist and you're a left-wing activist. And the question that it should be asked, just raised, and your answer proves your bias. You should be reporting on the facts. You should be reporting on the cases. Do you have the numbers of how many American citizens were killed by the hands of illegal aliens who ICE is trying to remove from this country? Levitt asked. I bet you don't. I bet you don't even read up on those stories. I bet you haven't. I bet you never even write about Lincoln Riley or Jocelyn Nuguri or all the innocent Americans who were killed at the hands of illegal aliens in this country, and the brave men and women on ICE are doing everything in their power to remove those heinous individuals and make our communities safer. Good articles good points being raised up about this. You got a bunch of bloggers, you got podcasters that don't even talk about the news. They talk about aliens. They talk about all this junk that they're talking about, along with bringing up Candace Owens all the time and Nick Fuentes all the time, and when they should be reporting on new news, stuff that we can actually conversate about. Who wants to talk about Candace Owens? Not me. I know she has a strong following out there, and more power to them. But I can do other things besides just that. So, what are we doing on time? 10:30. Oh, we got plenty of time here. Okay, we got those two done. Dems keep wanting to abolish ICE as a campaign clause, but it's gonna hurt them. James, oh man, I keep forgetting this guy's name. Well, he's with NBC or CBS, and he's James Carville. Yeah, that's it. James Carville was putting out stuff last night about they're going down the road that they're going to lose because they just want to yell and scream about immigration freedom so people can freely walk across the border, right? And they keep bringing it up over and over again, and they're going to get hemmed up from from Republicans. All right, so let's go over this a little bit. Calls to abolish ICE by some progressive Democrats are sparking a new divide in the party as center left-wing groups warn about a political backlash, and instead of urging messaging to reform the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, we must reform ICE. But it looks like at this stage, folks, ICE is beyond reform. Democrat Representative Sherry Strandler told reporters on Wednesday, ICE is totally out of control. And this week, I intend to introduce a bill to abolish ICE. Standard, I think that's that crazy guy that tried to impeach Trump a couple months ago. Spoke 1 week after fatally shooting of Minnesota woman by ICE went viral, sparking protests and a national debate over the agency's efforts to carry out President Trump's push to mass deportation of millions of undocumented workers. All right. Trump on Thursday warned if Minnesota's political leaders don't stop what he safeguarded as, or argued were professional interrogators and insurrectionists from taking patriots of ICE who are only trying to do their job. I will institute the insurrection. Okay, this is from what I read yesterday also. Okay, the center-left think tank, Third World, was cautious Democrats to avoid calls to abolish ICE. All right. So the Democrats are in a battle just like the Republicans are in a battle. Right now, the numbers are not in the favor of the Democrats. That's why, as a Republican, we need to go out and convert more people from being Democrat to Republican. All right? Don't try to do it to the robot maids and matrices, whatever they call them, because they're real human beings. Alrighty. Let's see. Man, I'm having a hard time reading. Ugh. Okay. So they talk about Minnesota. I might go back to that. You know what I want to read? I want to read from the Texas scorecard. Okay, hold on. Before I get there. Okay, so there was a poll done from Emerson College. The Emerson College poll was for the Democrat primary for Senate and the Republican primary for Senate. So James Tallarico is leading Jasmine Crockett by 9 points in a poll. He came in at 47. She came in at 38. And undecided was 15. Okay. So that's like a 9-point difference between Crockett and Tallarico, right? Tallarico's winning at this point. So you take that and put a line through it. And then the second part is Texas from how to say it? Okay. So the next one was the Senate race from the Emerson poll, and it showed Ken Paxton at 27%. It showed John Cornyn at 26%, and it showed Wesley Hunt at 16%, right? With 29 undecided. That means there's more work that needs to come out for the for the Republican race, right? Now, when talking about Republicans, like here in Corral County, we have a long way to go. We have people that they are not easily game players. Okay, they usually like to stick to themselves and stick on a keyboard and just argue at Facebook, that kind of thing, right? But those are some serious numbers concerning, like in the Texas Senate race with Cornyn and Paxton and Trump, not Trump, Hunt. They're what did I say? 29% undivided. That is a huge number. That means people still can be convinced to vote for one of the three, right? And then that other race is an open race, right? Okay. Okay. So I got done. And then another one is Greg Abbott. Greg Abbott, it will be in Copper's Cove in late July. He's doing a 16 city tour about small business development. And so it's going to be on the, they haven't named the venue yet, but I'm pretty sure it'll be the Civic Center. All right. But that's pretty cool. It costs $20 to go to this event. I'm sure, and it says it's going to have some food there and material for you and stuff like that, help you out. I will be looking for those tickets. Okay. The go back over here. California 50. So that would be Prop 50. I'm sorry, not California 50. A federal judge criticized California's voter-approved congressional map to redraw districts to favor Democrats, calling it a case of racial gerrymandering. Judge Kenneth Lee noted his concerns about race being a factor in his dissent as the panel voted 2-1 to uphold the map. California sullied its hands with a sordid business base that it was when it was engaged in racial gerrymandering as part of its decade congressional redistricting plan to add 5 more Democrat seats to the House. We know race like played, man, the way they write these sometimes. We know race likely played a predominant role in drawing at least one district because the smoking gun is in the hands of Paul Mitchell, the map maker who drew the congressional districting map adopted by the California state legislature. Okay, it's going to watch when it comes out. The court rejected a claim by Republicans that the vote approved as a vote of the Proposition 50 violates the Voting Rights Act, and the maps therefore in favor Islam, Hispanic, and Latino leaders. Man. Alrighty. The decision allows California to use the map, which would give Democrats more House seats. The California Republican Party said it will ask the U.S. Supreme Court for an emergency injunction. I knew it was coming. I wrote it down that it was coming, and there it is. Okay, good. The well-reasoned dissenting opinion on better reflects our interpretation of the law and the facts of which we will reassert it to the Supreme Court. California GOP Chairwoman Corinne Rankin said in a statement, the maps, drawers, plans, statements, acknowledging that he racially gerrymandered the Proposition 50 maps, which he and the legislature refused to explain or deny. In addition to our experts' testimony, establishments that the courts should stop the implementation of Prop 50. We look forward to continue this fight in the courts. Okay. Lee noted that mapmaker Paul Mitchell refused to appear before the panel, but had allegedly publicly boasted to his political allies at the MOP that the map had been drawn to ensure that Latinos, that they were Latino districts. I'm embarking on a mid-decade redistricting plan to create more Democrat-friendly districts. California needed relief on race to create at least one Latino majority congressional district. To be clear, as the majority explains, California began its mid-cycle redistricting last year after Texas initiated its own redistricting in favor of Republicans, but the larger partisan goal does not negate hesitation of California Democrat state legislative sought to maintain expanded and racial spoils to the system. Okay, so 3-judge panel, and then the vote was 2 votes to 1 to approve the maps, but the lawsuit is being appealed to the Supreme Court. Only the question is, will they rule quickly or will they take months? Okay, because a lot of primaries are going to be happening really, really soon, and they need to get that done. All right. Before I get to the rest of this, Maria Corina Machado, she visited the White House yesterday, and then she donated her Nobel Prize to the president for the hard work he's done, so he get it this year. The president didn't get it this year. She did. All right. So more Democrat reps involved in refused illegal orders video must receive inquiry from the U.S. attorney. These are the people that were in cahoots with what's his name? Mark Kelly. Okay, so we got about 3 more in here that are in trouble too, that they're going to be investigated for. If you mess around, you're going to get punished, right? We all know from being in the military, you don't invite sedition or dishonor or being disloyal. And that's what they're fighting, okay? Well, I'm speeding through all this stuff. Before I get to this, I'm wearing my glasses. Okay, I'm going to switch over to the Texas scorecard. Well, before I do that, okay, I want to remind you one last time about this. Okay, the what it is, Officer Garrison's funeral is tomorrow at the Bell County Expo or the Cadence Bank Center. It starts at 10 o'clock in Belton. It starts at 10 o'clock. And they put out yesterday the immediate family of Officer Garrison. They want no photographs. and they don't want any live streams, and they don't want any videos being made. All right? Please respect their wishes as they go out to bury their loved one, okay? And let's see, transition. I think I got one more. Yep, I got one more slide. All right, so Texas. All right, so how many of y'all have ever been reading about Epic or Epic 2, right? Leave me a chat. Well, matter of fact, don't forget, if you are watching, please click that follow button and then click the like button, please, right? Let's see here. Texas scorecard. Collin County rejects plan for controversial Islamic development. Collin County officials have rejected a development to plan for the proposed Islamic community of the Meadow, formerly branded Epic City. Wow, this is good. Okay, I should be reading this. Officials found the application was incomplete, but said the plan will be reevaluated if and when all required items are submitted. County Judge Chris Hill announced the update on Thursday via social media. Hill said Community Capital Partners officially submitted its development plat to Collin County Development Services on December 23, initiating the county review process. CCP, which means Community Capital Partners, is the team behind the controversial community plan for property in unincorporated area, eastern Collin County and western Hunt County. All right. The letter was sent to Westwood. Listed several items that must be provided in order for the application to proceed complete for final review. Final plat copies will serve letters of electric and water utilities and an application fee. Hill stated that the developers are free to submit missing documents at any time. The country would then reevaluate the admissions in accordance with state law and the county's subdivision regulations. All right, and then the next one, Austin Police Department. So what is Austin Police Department doing? Well, I'm glad you asked. Austin, by tradition, is a very liberal police department. Matter of fact, Governor Abbott had to put the DPS on the streets inside of Austin. So, I can't believe this when I was reading this, but Austin Police Department to increase cooperation with ICE. Police in the capital city will soon work in closer partnership with federal immigration authorities. The first recorded by KUT, officers with the Austin Police Department will shortly receive discretion to inquire about immigration status as part of their day in duty time. Under the old policy, the department was only required to hold persons subject to formal ICE detainer questions. The new policy permits, but does not require the department to also cooperate without administrative warrants. Wow. I got some type of notification. All right. So, a less stringent standard administrative warrants generally applied to those suspected of civil immigration violations. The announcement follows a memo from city legal staff that argues cooperation with administrative warrants is required under state law passed in 2017. All right, that's a lot to digest right there. And then the last one, GOP House candidate Amy Fennell drops out after anti-Trump posts were revealed. Okay, if you remember her, it was just a few weeks ago that she said that she is saving all of her material to not run for the state house. What she'd run against Alcott in House District 60, right? She was making all kinds of bad Trump statements. So let's see if it says anything in her. Amy Fennell, a Republican candidate who had been challenging State Rep Mike Alcott in the GOP primary, Texas House District 60, has withdrawn from the race after previously posting a series of social media comments sharply critical of President Trump and the Republican Party. Wow, this is why we need closed primaries. In one post, she referred to Trump as a treasonous felon. In other words, she argued that he keep out of the White House and framed Harris's campaign as an effort to bring America back again. Just one day after the attempted assassination of Trump at a campaign rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, Fennell shared a screenshot of a Trump fundraising text and described it as the next level cult junk. I won't say the word. In subsequent posts, she continued criticizing Trump and mocking reports of additional security incidents, writing that he should suck it up. Wow, really? Fennell also dismissed Republican concerns about gun control, writing in one post, "Nobody's coming for your effing guns," and criticized taxpayer-funded lobbying for cities and school districts. Okay, I'll agree with you on that part. I don't believe in taxpayer-funded lobbyists. And in a statement first reported by Mineral Wells Area News, Fennell said her decision to withdraw came after a conversation with her family and supporters and was driven by what she described as fundamental shift within the Republican Party. Historically, Republicans posed as independence, integrity, and accountability. It was the party of limited government, local control, and leaders who answered their communities, not all national parts, national political figures, and shadowy mega donors. Over the past several weeks, I have come to realize that this is no longer the case. She said her party's growing emphasis on personal loyalty over principle was incorrigible. Boy, some hard words here, guys. I would not be part of a party where loyalty comes before all, even at the expense of the constitutional requirements, just and religious, righteous decisions, and fiscally conservative policies. With Fennell's district gone, Alcott is a sole Republican candidate in the House District 60 primary. All right. Boy, I did all that. And then Mike Sullivan put on here for quote unquote, the Christian ideal has not been tried and found wanting. It has been found difficult and left untried. So most people that get saved just get saved and never grow, right? And there's a difference between being a doer and a seer, all right? There are two different ones, all right? Let's see here. Don't forget. Did I mention? I did mention Officer Garrettson. Okay, I did. Okay. So the next thing I want to bring everyone's attention to was our Coryell County GOP Lincoln Reagan dinner. Go to the QR code right there. As you can see, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick's going to be our keynote speaker. The attire country chic, which means button-down shirt and jeans and a cowboy hat. Okay. You can get tickets at $60 a person, or a couple tickets at $100. Or if you want to just donate to the Coryell County Republican Party, you can do that too. Couples tickets are $100, and preferred table is $600 for the table for 6. That would mean also, like me and a friend of mine and this other girl that's a friend of mine, we're going to pull our money together and get a table. All right. So Dan Patrick is the keynote speaker. Just scan the QR code, buy your tickets, and if you just want to buy, just get a donation to the party, you can do that too. Let me go back to myself. That is a good price. I've been seeing them in Denton County, Burnett County, and Travis County. Their Lincoln Reagan dinners are expensive. Ours is $100 a couple. And you're going to get a combination chicken and steak dinner, right? It's going to be really good. I'm on the committee. I'm on the committee for the Lincoln Reagan dinner, so I know what's all going on inside of it. All right. Let's see here. There we go. All right. These are my socials. I'm on X at James Pierce Jr. I'm on Facebook at James A. Pierce Jr. I'm on YouTube at the JP8 Report 67, and I'm on Truth Social, James A. Pierce. All right. Thanks for bearing with me today. I think I got a sinus problem. It's killing me. Before I let you go, let's see if there's any headlines going on out there right now. Governing reality forces Republicans to fund media agency Trump tried to kill. What in the world was that? Hold on just a second. GOP passes funding for U.S. agency on global media despite Trump's order to shutter the organization for $643 million. What happened? That's Voice of America. Despite President Trump's past efforts to shut it down, Republicans passed a spending package that includes $643 million for U.S. agency for global media, choosing legislative unity over a fight that could have derailed the must-pass spending bill. The move underscored the GOP's ongoing struggle to pursue party objectives while also crafting legislation that can unite Republicans, razor thin margins in the House of Representatives. The funding goes toward radio, internet, television, broadcasting grants in the Middle East. The item passed both chambers this week and is part of this year's National Security Department of State and related programs, NSRP. All right. So what it looks like is they put it in the budget because they couldn't pass the bill unless it was in the budget. But as soon as the budget is completely passed, they can do a reconciliation of the budget and take that out of. That's all they need to do, right? Wow. The 174 minibus bill is on its way to the president to be signed. So there's $80 billion left in budgets, which is Homeland Security and a couple other bills, right? Let's see, what else do we have? Minnesota AG says charges may wait until 2029 for ICE agent involved shooting. Yeah, a bunch of crooks. Not the ICE, but these Minnesota people. Minnesota incident report shows Renee Good was shot, 4 wounds revealed. Okay. Alrighty, let me go back here. I don't see anything else going on. Anybody have any questions? Well, so what's going on this weekend? I have a congressional interview with Abram Garapati. It's not going to be live. It's going to be taped, and then I'm going to push it out. And I don't edit my videos. Tomorrow, I have 2 county commissioner candidates that are coming over for me to interview them also. And then I have a men's breakfast tomorrow morning at my church. And I got some other work I got to do, so it's going to be a busy weekend. All right? So with that in mind, I am just going to say goodbye for the day until I make my next move. All right? So I will see y'all on the flip side. This is James Pierce with the JP8 report. I am out.